Hello everybody and welcome to another Tide Guy video. This video is going to be kind of a recap of yesterday's games, and if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button, and also if you would please hit the like button, that way other users get a chance to see my video. We're going to start out with the Nebraska Northwestern game. That was really tough for Scott Frost. Unfortunately, we learned a few things about Nebraska. One, Scott Frost, that onside kick was just terrible. Nobody can justify why he would do an onside kick up 11. That just made no sense. That pretty much turned the game right over to Northwestern. Another big problem with Nebraska this year is the lines. Let's face it, both the offensive and defensive lines, they were just pushed around. That's not something Nebraska usually has a problem with, but unfortunately that defensive line was just terrible, especially in the second half. Northwestern, they just ran at will, pushed them guys back 2 yards easy every play. Just not a good look for a Nebraska team. The turnovers, they had one fumble, 2 interceptions. You're not going to win many games when you give up 3 turnovers. That's just really hard to come back from. Plus they gave up over 500 yards. Again, in the Big Ten, you're giving up 500 yards in a game, you're not going to win too many of them. So I do predict, unfortunately, that it's going to be another Nebraska type year. They're going to lose probably at least 6 games. So the best they're going to look at is 6-6. I can easily see them going 5-7. I don't think Scott Frost is going to make it past October. I think the only reason he didn't get terminated yesterday was Nebraska is going to save a few $1 million by waiting until October. And honestly, if you fire him today or you fire him in October, there's really not much of a difference. You save the money and the wins and losses are pretty much going to be the same. But I think Nebraska will fire him early, especially with the new recruiting signing period in December. People want their coaches in place so that way they get a chance to get out and recruit. So I do believe, if you're a betting person, Scott Frost will not make it past October this year. Another game that was pretty interesting yesterday, Florida State. I know they played Duquesne, so you can't judge a lot against a smaller school like that. But we did learn that Florida State, the run game, it does look like, it's going to be good this year. Their line was really impressive. Quarterback Jordan Travis, he looked good. They scored every time he was in there. And I do think that this is going to be a better Florida State team. Now, you can't say, well, they're back and they're going to go 10-2, they're going to go 9-3. You got to look at this win for what it is. The one downside I saw in the game, was what happens if their quarterback gets hurt. That backup quarterback, Tate Rodemaker, he threw that interception that led to the Duquesne's only score. Got to work on that. He's had a little bit of problem in practice, so I do think the backup quarterback is gonna be a question there. So let's hope it don't come to that. Florida State has been down for a while, and it'll be nice to see them do good again and compete in the ACC. The ACC, they need more teams than just Clemson to win year in and year out. You kind of seen last year when Clemson didn't win it, they didn't make the playoffs. So if the ACC could get Miami back, Florida State back, it would really help them, and it would really up their playoff ability. One of the surprises last night, I think, for many people was Vanderbilt. I know it's Hawaii, so you look at, it's Hawaii, so it's not that great of a team. But you think about it, Vandy went on the road. Vandy is always the bottom of the SEC. So anytime, they can get a win. And if you watch that game at all, right off the bat, you thought, oh God, this is Vandy. Here they go. They give up the score right away. They're down 7-0. You think it's the same old Vandy, but they came back. And if Vandy can put up 600 yards of total offense. You know, that's really impressive. They scored 63 points. You know, that's not Vandy-like. I do think the one thing we did learn from the game, and that you can take from the game, is that Vanderbilt is more aggressive. Clark Lee's really got them aggressive. He's got them playing physical. I do think, you know, Vanderbilt is going to be a lot better this year. Now, unfortunately, they play in the SEC, so, you know, with their schedule, they're not going to be, you know, an 8-4, 9-3 type team. But I think Vanderbilt could sneak up on some people. They could sneak up, you know, Missouri. They could get Missouri this year. They got 3 more out-of-conference games they could get, you know. So there's 5 wins. And if all they do is sneak up on one more, that's a 6-win season, and they're in a bowl. So, you know, Vanderbilt does have a chance, which at the beginning of the year, I don't think many people would think Vanderbilt would have a chance. But, you know, honestly, I think they do have a shot this year. And I think that's great for Vanderbilt. I think Clark Lee is trying to build something there, which is hard to do. It hasn't been done since, the mid-2000s. So when Franklin was there, he had them in a playoff, but Vanderbilt is a really hard place to win at. Another game that was on yesterday that a lot of people watched was North Carolina and Florida A&M. North Carolina, they come out really sluggish, and especially to a Florida A&M team that was down 25 players. They had 25 players not make the trip, so to kind of struggle a little bit was a little bit of a surprise. But once the quarterback for North Carolina, Mail, he was really good. He was 29 of 37. He passed for 294 yards and 5 touchdowns. I do think North Carolina will settle down. I do think North Carolina will be really good this year. I think they'll go 7-5 for sure, if not maybe an 8-4, and definitely make a playoff, or not a playoff, a bowl game, and they'll be fun to watch this year. There's a few other games, but none of them really that big. Illinois, they looked pretty good against Wyoming. That was an impressive game for Illinois. They started out not the greatest, but you know, they finished it off pretty strong. And I know everybody's looking forward to this Thursday. You got the backyard brawl that hadn't been played in over 10 years, and you also have Purdue going into Penn State. So Thursday will be some really good football, and I look forward to those games. If you would, leave in the comments what you thought of the games that I just spoke about, and who you're looking forward to playing this week. I do think there's some really good matchups and some really good games, and as always, roll Tide.